Hi, I'm Cathy Neptune and welcome to my kitchen. I'm going to share with you tips, tools, and recipes to make your time in the kitchen fun, fast, and fabulous. Well, we're getting through the winter. Do you like soup? We're going to make a really good tortellini chicken soup with a lot of fresh veggies, easy to do, great to have on hand if you have a rotisserie chicken, and we'll talk a lot about that later. And then we got to serve a bread on the side. So I think a nice garlic herb roasted bread in the oven, an Italian bread. And then for dessert, we're going to do peanut butter snowballs. And this is a no-bake cookie. And I think we'll start with those today because we're going to chill them and then dip them in chocolate with a fun technique I think you're going to enjoy. So we're going to start out here. Now I'm doing half the recipe because if I did the full recipe, I would eat them all in one day. So I'm going to include the full recipe at the end of this video. So right here I have like a quarter stick of softened butter, and then a cup of peanut butter. And now on this, I have to caution you, if you see how dry this is, don't get one of those oily organic ones. You can use that, but make sure you drain the oil very, very well, or you're going to have a very watery snowball cookie. And you don't want that. And we're going to add some other things, but we're going to cream this together right now. And as I said, it's pretty soft. Room temperature is good. Set it out about an hour or so before, but don't melt it or soften it in the microwave because you'll, again, have problems with too much liquid. Don't melt the butter. So we're going to take a hand mixer and just blend this. Start out slowly. So just enough to blend it together. And then we're going to take a cup of powdered sugar and a little bit of vanilla. About half a teaspoon is good. And use the real vanilla. It's no fun if you don't. And then I like to kind of mix this and do this very slowly or you're going to get a cloud of powdered sugar. Okay, and that is all you need with that. And then I have here about 3/4 of a cup. Again, this is just half the recipe. You want to take the crushed graham crackers, and you can just crush them in a plastic bag, nothing fancy. And we want to just incorporate this all into this peanut butter mixture. Now, while I was doing this, looking at this recipe, you know what would be good in here? You could add cream cheese, softened cream cheese with the peanut butter and butter, and blend it and make like a cheesecake truffle. And that would be good too. So you can see it's kind of a dense mixture, and this is just what you want, very dry. And this is why, again, you don't want a real liquidy organic type of peanut butter because this would just be too mushy, because we're going to take this and scoop it. I have a scoop here and I've sprayed it with some nonstick spray over the sink. My little tip, my latest tip for when you do a nonstick spray, open up your dishwasher and put it on the inside front of your dishwasher and spray it. So that way, when you wash your dishes, it's going to clean off the spray because you don't want that on your floor. And then I'm going to take some little papers and put them down here, and we're going to chill this before we dip them in the chocolate. So I had this plate in the freezer, just chilling a little bit. And then to be consistent, about I'd say a good tablespoon each And you set these out. I'm going to chill these for about, I'd say 30 minutes or so. This is easy to do, and these make great snacks for the kids. And your friends who aren't allergic to peanut butter. These are good. I think we can get them all in there. I'm going to mix exactly this many. And then I'm just going to make them a little easier for rolling with impeccably clean hands. Now the kids would love to do this. I'm going to do this with my son Aiden. Remember Aiden, my grandson? He would love to do these. He loves peanut butter. And doubling the recipe, but you can see this makes quite a bit for half a recipe. And they're usually things that you have on hand already, even the chocolate chips, if you have chocolate chips in your pantry. This is good. You could also do white chocolate. It would be great. Okay, so I'm going to pop these in the freezer, space them out a little bit. And I'm just doing that so they chill a little faster. You can leave them in the refrigerator for about an hour and you're good to go. So I'm going to pop these in, and when we come back, we're going to start on our tortellini chicken soup. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. We're going to make our tortellini chicken soup. And this is a full recipe, so I'm going to show you what we're going to incorporate into this soup. And it's really quick and easy. I have here some diced raw carrots, 2 of those, and 2 medium celery diced. I have frozen tortellinis, and I love them multicolored. I just think they're interesting. And they're cheese tortellini, and you don't have to thaw them. And that's about 9 ounces, not a full package. Usually a full package where I buy is about 13 ounces, so save a little out. I have about half a cup of chopped green onions or chives and about half a cup of parsley. But we're going to use this in 2 recipes, so we're using half of this. Some thawed frozen spinach that's drained. You can use a package of fresh spinach, but this is a 16-ounce squeeze-dried spinach, chopped. And then we're going to add in an onion, some garlic, some chicken, and shredded Parmesan cheese to put on at the end. And I have my pot on the stove. And we're going to saute the veggies, and I'm going to use a little bit of olive oil in that. And use a medium-sized onion. It doesn't have to be fancy. Or use whatever you usually have on hand. You could use a red onion. You can even use dried onion if you want, but why not use the fresh? I think it's nice to do. And then just chopped onions. I wouldn't put these in the food processor because you want a little texture to your soup. I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to our stock pot. And I used rotisserie chicken. And you know me, I don't like to waste anything. We used about 2 tablespoons of good quality olive oil. And I used a rotisserie chicken, and I saved the bones. What you want to do is when you buy a rotisserie chicken, when you get home, immediately while the chicken is still warm, take your chicken and debone the whole chicken. Chop it up like this. We're using 2 cups of chopped cooked chicken. And it's easier to chop while it's still warm and just debone the whole chicken. And then I take the bones and I put them in a stock pot overnight with all kinds of fresh herbs if you have them, or dried herbs. So we're just going to saute that till they soften. But use herbs like dried thyme, Italian seasoning. I love thyme. If you don't have any fresh thyme, You can use a dried thyme, rosemary, very flavorful, just to give the broth and stock a nice depth of color and flavor. And then I always strain it and degrease it. Look at how beautiful that is. That's really a bone broth because I leave it in overnight for about 10-12 hours in the crock pot. And you have a beautiful stock to use anytime you need it. Now another tip that I like to do, now I have more chicken than this in the rotisserie chicken. Save out some of the broth, that's only part of what I made, and pour the stock in baggies and freeze the chicken right in your nice chicken bone broth and put it in the freezer, label and date it, and you have a beautiful start to a chicken, any kind of a cream chicken with pasta or another chicken noodle soup or even Mexican foods, and you're way ahead. So I think that rotisserie chickens are a really good investment in your kitchen and saves you time and money. We're just going to let that cook, and I'm going to add some fresh garlic as well. 2 cloves of garlic, 2 or 3, but these were fairly large cloves of garlic, so it's just easier to peel them when you smash them first. And it should only take about 5 minutes to saute those vegetables, just to get a little color and flavor. And you know, you could do a garlic press on these, but they're going to soften up as it cooks. So I'm just going to slightly chop them. Make sure you get all the peels off. You don't want peels in there. And when I do the chicken stock overnight, I test it and put just a minimal of salt and pepper in there, so you can always season it as you go. And then you don't want to add your garlic right away because it'll burn, and you don't want burned garlic. So we'll put that in. And those are softening very nicely. I'm going to bring this over and show you. Those look nice and roasted. Look at that. And you can tell just the fragrance. And then we're going to add 6 cups of our beautiful, look at the color in that. That's our chicken broth that we made, homemade. And we're going to cook that for about 7 to 8 minutes. Just enough to soften the veggies before we add our other ingredients. Turn up the heat, let it simmer, and when we come back, we'll add our other elements. So we'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. I have our pot on here with the stock and the veggies boiling away. And I'm just going to add our spinach to this. And again, you can use fresh or frozen, but I find frozen is very convenient. And I like the spinach in here. It just makes it colorful and healthy. And then I'm going to add about a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, your favorite. Not a teaspoon, give or take. You don't have to be fussy. You have to be a little more careful when you're baking versus cooking, because baking can be really testy if you don't measure everything. But look at the colors on this. So we're just going to cook this, or bring it back up to a boil, because the spinach was thawed but cool. And we're just going to do that. And then we're going to add our 2 cups of chicken that we have here and warm that up. And then our tortellini go in last, and those only cook for about 7 to 8 minutes. They're and if you buy the fresh ones, be careful. Don't overcook the fresh ones that you can get sometimes in a package, not frozen. And those will only take you about 3 minutes. Or you can make your homemade ones as well. But I find the frozen, again, very convenient in the winter. You have a little leftover rotisserie chicken, go for it. Make something like this. It's a whole meal, and we're going to dress it up at the end as well and add some extras to it. Now, I've seen this recipe too where people add cream to it. I want to keep it a little bit lighter and healthier, but you certainly could add a heavy cream to this if you wanted a creamy tortellini soup, which is really nice when we dress it up with the parmesan and the chicken. It almost tastes like a chicken pasta, Alfredo, if you add the cream. But I like to keep it simple and a little bit on the healthy side and do it this way. And then let's see if that's boiling. Yep, it doesn't take long. And then we're going to add our chicken. And if you didn't want to buy a rotisserie chicken, of course, you could buy probably 2 good-sized chicken breasts, cut them up, and saute them on a skillet on top of your stove. Or you could put them raw, but it'd take a little bit longer when you put it into the soup. So we're going to bring that up to a boil and let it probably simmer about 3 or 4 minutes. And when we come back, we'll add our tortellini. We'll be right back. Hello, we're going to finish off our chicken tortellini soup. And we had our chicken warming up here. And look at how beautiful and colorful that is. Healthy. Oh, it smells so good. And even our tortellini match all the colors in our soup. That's important. I'm going to put those in. Remember, 9 ounces of tortellini frozen. You don't even have to thaw them. And put that on the stove. And I'm going to put the timer on for 8 minutes. Turn it up a little bit. And we're going to check it after 8 minutes. And then we have our toppings. We have some Parmesan cheese and some of our herbs, chopped parsley and chives that we're going to put over the top. It should be really good. Now we're going to get right into our garlic herb bread. I have some artesian bread, which could be French bread or Italian. This is more on a softer Italian bread style, and we want to cut it in half. And I have my oven heated up at 375. Use a good bread knife. And we're going to set this aside. Let's put this on a nice baking sheet. And you could do dry herbs if you'd like, but I think always fresh herbs are good. And we have our half a stick of butter that's softened. And we're going to add our garlic cloves. We're using a lot of garlic today. A lot of garlic. And this I'm going to press in a garlic press because we want it evenly distributed. And a little trick I've learned, the butter is a little bit dense. Get all these peels off. I'm wondering if any of you buy jarred garlic. I've just never been into garlic in a jar. I like it fresh. And then I'm going to add a little trick that I like to do. For flavor and also density, just add about a half a teaspoon of good olive oil because I just think it blends so nicely with all the herbs and the garlic on the bread. Do that, and then we're going to press the garlic. Two good-sized cloves. And you can use salted or unsalted butter, but you don't have to add any salt to this because you have the Parmesan cheese, which is a little bit salty. So we don't really need it. We'll do a little bit more. And this is totally adjustable. If you want more garlic, go for it. So that is that. And then you could certainly add dried herbs if you'd like, or even Italian seasoning again if you'd like, because you're using it in the soup. And probably 2 teaspoons of the chopped green onions, and also the same amount of the chopped fresh parsley. Just blend that up. You could add a little cayenne pepper if you want this spicy, or red peppers would be good. It's totally optional, up to you. And all of this you could do ahead of time. You can make the soup if you're having company and do a comfort night, or this would be good for the weeknight too, and then just heat it up when you get home. Everything reheats so beautifully. Well, let's do half and half and spread this. I'm going to put this here, a generous amount, and that's going to bake into the bread because this is kind of a thick bread. That's my excuse anyway. And spread that. And if you have made extra of this, remember my little trick about freezing herb butter in a log and labeling it in your freezer. So don't be afraid to make extra if you have all these fresh herbs. It's a good way to go. And that's that. And then we're going to take our Parmesan cheese and spread, and it depends on the size of your loaf. If you had a longer loaf, you'd use more or less, just enough to cover the top. And this is at a 375 oven for probably 8 to 10 minutes. So this should be done right when our soup is done. So we're going to pop that into the oven. And when we come back, we're going to finish off our peanut butter snowballs. This is so fun. We'll be right back. Okay, our chicken tortellini soup is almost done. And look at, I put these in the freezer. These are our peanut butter snowballs. And I have in here some chocolate melts or discs, or you could use semi-sweet chocolate. It's a cup. And then a tablespoon of Crisco. And I'm going to melt this, and every 30 seconds, I'll do 1 minute, but every 30 seconds you want to kind of mix it together. And don't get on the phone or do anything, because this here could burn in a second. And we're going to take these and dip them in chocolate. And then I'm going to grab these over here. You know what I have here? What does that look like? I have Rice Krispie treats and chopped peanuts. I'm going to get a large fork here. There we go. And I chopped the peanuts and mixed them in. And you can use any kind of cereal. You could use even corn flakes if you want. You could do coconut. That would be nice. But we're going to dip these in chocolate, melted chocolate, and then in the coating. So I want to show you. See how this is melting a little bit? But you don't want to scorch them. You want it every 30 seconds. Just mix it, and eventually it'll be liquid. And that'll make for nice melting. So get in there. There we go. Put it back in. And we'll check that after a while. And this you can only do at the last minute. But you could do graham crackers, even though we put graham crackers in here. You could just do crushed graham crackers, like a round oat cereal you could. You could even do a sweetened oatmeal, quick cooking oatmeal. So it's kind of a good recipe to have to use whatever you have on hand and your favorite. Oh, this is getting really good. See, now this is probably all we need to do. As you stir it, it's warm, so it's going to melt. I'm going to check on our bread that I put in here. A few more minutes. Let's do 3 About 3 minutes on that. Let's do timer. And we don't want to get it too brown. And then I'm going to take these and look at this. See this? This is a plastic fork. This is the best idea. And what we're going to do is use this to dip in the chocolate. And because it has a space in the middle, I just broke off the middle tines of the fork. And it drips off really well. And then you just want to kind of plop it in there. That's a technical term. And just kind of roll these in here. And because they're frozen, the chocolate is going to set up. I'm going to put those in there. Let's do another one. How fun. I just think that's the coolest thing. And drip off quite a bit of the excess. And these you might want to, you could chill in the refrigerator and keep them for whenever you want to serve them. But it's nice that we chill these in the freezer for about half an hour because the chocolate sets up very quickly on these. So I'll throw them in and we'll just keep doing this. This would be cute for Valentine's Day too. You could do a white chocolate on the top and dress them up with some red sprinkles or red hearts. That would be nice. Be fun too inside if you wanted to poke in a few mini marshmallows inside. That would be good. Little surprises. Or cherries. You could do a whole cherry inside. You can get quite an assembly line going with this. And be creative. Do what you think you like. Let's do 2. I'm getting brave. And have a pretty plate ready. And be careful that you label this in case you have people that have peanut allergies. You want to be always careful with that. And I'm going to finish these up. I'm going to plate everything because our bread is almost done. We're going to garnish everything. And when we come back, we're going to present this whole, it's a fun meal to do and it's easy too with things that you have on hand. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. Look at our feast, our wonderful tortellini chicken soup or chicken tortellini soup. We're going to serve it with a beautiful slice of our garlic and herb bread. And we're going to put a little bit of mixture with the chives and the parsley. And we're also going to add a little bit of cheese on the top. And some green onions. Look at that. And these here are our beautiful peanut butter snowballs. Look at how beautifully they set up. And change it up with some of the ideas that we talked about. These are so good and they pack perfect in lunches or for taking to somebody's house. That is really a good, easy, healthy, and very comforting meal, I think, that's very adaptable to every different thing. Different things that you have on hand or what you like. The tortellini you could add, I had a suggestion with put a mushroom, a roasted mushroom on the top that you could bake right in the oven with your bread. But a very hearty, healthy, and delicious midweek dinner or for the weekend or for company. So invite your friends over, cook for somebody special in your life. And thank you to everybody who writes in with your questions and comments and suggestions and what you'd like to see on the show too. So thank you all for watching. Stay safe and warm this winter, and may the fork be with you.